Hey, everybody. I'm Austin Ward from Letterman Row. Another busy day here in Columbus, so we had to go for another round with some more former Ohio State Lettermen to weigh in on the future here of the Ohio State program, with the Urban Meyer now officially suspended for 3 weeks. So Beanie Wells is back in with. He's been along with us all month long for this ride. Reid Fragel in for a second time, giving us some of his insights at Letterman Row. So appreciate those guys swinging by to give us their thoughts as guys who've worn the scarlet and gray, understand sort of the importance of that program and what being the coach entails. So Beanie, I'll throw it to you first. Since we've had a lot of conversations about what the punishment would be. Would he be suspended? Would he be cleared? How is it going to play out? What were your thoughts yesterday when it did come down?
It was a little bit of mixed emotions. Obviously, you want a coach to be there. Obviously, you understand how important Urban Meyer is, but you understand obviously what was at stake and what had happened and what transpired. And there's a lot of people out there that are saying he shouldn't have been suspended at all. What are you truly suspending him for? But I think in this situation, you had to hold somebody accountable for something, and that something was having Zach Smith on the coaching staff entirely too long, knowing all his transgressions. So a 3-game suspension, is it fitting? Who am I to sit here and say that's enough or it isn't enough? But I think the university did the right thing by doing something and moving forward from this.
Yeah, Reid, I kind of thought it was strange that, in my opinion, I thought he was either going to be cleared to be the coach or not. Like, you're giving him, Urban Meyer, the keys back in about a month. So I thought, I'm not sure what the suspension really accomplished, but maybe that's just me. Did you have a feeling going into this of how it was going to play out?
Yeah, I mean, immediately my thoughts go back to Jim Tressel when that whole thing blew up. So I feared initially when I heard about this going down, I feared that was the route that this was going to take with the media. When it kind of got drawn out into the 2-week investigation, that's when I started getting a little more hope that, okay, maybe this is just going to be a suspension. Maybe he did do the right thing, but just not in the right time frame for what's, I guess, approved by society and what people think is okay. So I think the suspension it's needed to kind of prove a point, and I don't think Urban endorses by any means what Zach Smith did. Just the matter of how he handled it is something that the suspension will serve for. Yeah,
and I think that's a big part of it. You look at the report; it says that there was no sort of active cover-up by Urban Meyer. That they weren't trying to hide anything. That maybe even when he was lying or misleading at Big Ten Media Days, that he did it with good intentions. I mean, to me, it just seemed, Beanie, like the more they wrote in the report, the more it felt like Urban Meyer had actually followed all those protocols. That's maybe why the suspension surprised me the way it did.
Yeah, no, I can see that, but I think when you look at the fact that Urban Meyer holds players to a high standard, and then you go and compare it to how it looked as if he's holding the standard to his coaching staff, there's a little bit of discrepancy there. I mean, Zach Smith done some things that probably should have warranted a firing a long time ago, but obviously we all know the tight relationship that Urban had with Earl Bruce, Zach's grandfather, and how some of those feelings sometimes can come into play when you're making decisions and kind of cloud your mind. The human effect, as I call it. And Urban Meyer is no different than any other human being, and having those feelings for people, and you want to help people that you really care about and you really know.
Reid, I asked you about this before we went on, and you referenced the Tressel situation and what you guys went through with an interim coach and changes of that sort. I mean, how big is this absence? How critical has it been that Urban Meyer's not been on the field for all of August, or that he won't be there for the first week of the season? What is that like from a player perspective?
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Obviously, the easy way to say it is it's bad to the outside perspective that the coach isn't there. But what happens internally with the team and inside that locker room is something that's special, and that's what kind of happened and what you saw in 2012 after the 6 and 7 season. We kind of took it as, this is our team. No matter what happens, we know what we have in this room. We know what we can do. We know the work we put in together. We're a family. We're a brotherhood. We're going to go out there and win for each other. And I think that's exactly what is happening right now and what's happened this camp.
Some of the gambling odds, Beanie, have actually shifted in favor of Ohio State since the suspension was handed out. I think maybe there's something to this that, I don't know, there's going to be an angry football team that, being Oregon State or Rutgers might be even less fun when you're playing Ohio State for the next couple of weeks. I mean, does this turn into some sort of rallying cry for a team? Is that how this might work?
I think so, man. We talked about it the other day. Teams are always looking for that extra motivation, that extra chip on their shoulder. And this is one of them. Urban Meyer is going to want to come out excuse my language, guns blazing, essentially, in this situation. I mean, he's going to want to prove a point that, you know what, I belong to be the head coach at The Ohio State University. You know, what I went through was a tough time for me and his team, but we're locked and loaded and ready to play football and geared up, and he's going to want to go out and prove that by running the score up and playing some great defense.
Yeah, Reid, does this change anything for you and your expectations of this team?
No, and I remember Coach Meyer vividly saying he wanted one of his goals in his career was to score 100 points. And I think he just might do that this year.
Yeah, they might have to do it without him. Ryan Day on those first 2 weeks. I mean, my goodness. Oregon State was one of the worst teams in the country last year. They're going into the Horseshoe next week to face a fired-up group of guys. I mean, but any score predictions? Can he get 100 next week? Either one of you guys think that?
I don't know.
Out the gate, but.
All right, we're too early for that. I don't need to put him on the spot. That's Beanie Wells and Reid Fragel, Letterman Row contributors, former Ohio State standouts, joining us once again. We appreciate that. So for the latest on all that, Urban Meyer, an actual season that's kicking off in about 9 days. Keep it locked right here at Letterman Row. I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time.